Dinavashashilehe Lalita Sakhi Guna Ramita Vishakhe Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Karuna Kuru Mai Karuna Barehite Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite Karuna Karuna Kuru Mai Karuna Barehite Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Gokula Tarone Mandala Mahite Gokula Tarone Mandala Mahite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Jaya Radha Gopinath Radha Gopinath Radhe Radhe Jaya Radha Gopinath Radha Gopinath Radhe Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Shri Hari Nam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadramai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai, Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Guru Vrinda Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru Shri Gauranga. Hare Krishna. So it's very auspicious time. The gates to the spiritual world have been opened just now. Actually, I remember the first time I saw these gates in front of the deities, and it was very confusing for me, because from the first sight, it seemed that deities are behind the bars. And I was thinking, why the deities are behind the bars? But then I realized that these are not the deities behind the bars. It's me behind the bars, looking at the free land of the spiritual world, because Yeah, the spiritual world is the place of unlimited freedom, and material world is the big prison house, Durga. So, but by the mercy of Srimati Radharani, we can gain not only freedom, but also eternal service to the lotus feet of Shri Shri Radha and Gopinath, which are the perfect deities to worship, of course, at any time, but especially today, because Radha Gopinath. Gopinath means the master of the gopis, and so Srimati Radharani is the topmost gopi. And of course, there are different deities in our tradition which are presiding deities of different processes of devotional service or different stages of devotional development. Radha, Madan, Mohan are the deities of Sambandha, or understanding of our relationship with the Supreme Lord. That's why they were worshipped by Sambandha Acharya Sanatana Goswami. Then Radha, Madan, Radha Govinda are the deities of practices of devotional service, which is Abhideya. That's why they were worshipped by Rupa Goswami, Abhideya Acharya. But Radha Gopinath are actually the deities of Prayojana, or the topmost goal of life, which is pure love of God. And so I'm kind of transcendently jealous of you in Sydney because you're already there, you're already worshipping Radha Gopinath, the source of pure divine love. And of course, you get the advantage of their worship according to how seriously you take this opportunity, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Iyatamam prapadyante tam statayo bhajamyaham. Everyone is rewarded by me according to how they surrender unto me. So, but at least this amazing opportunity is there to worship Radha Gopinath and get pure love of Godhead. And they're really lovely deities, right? And so today is a very special day, Shri Radha Ashtami, and we'll speak a little bit on a few things. We don't have so much time, but we'll try to say as much as we can on the position and also on the appearance of Srimati Radharani, because this is what we're celebrating today. And in the evening we read Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and so we're not going to disrupt this tradition, and so we'll read one verse from Bhagavad Gita, which Srila Prabhupada defines as the verse which glorifies the position of Srimati Radharani. So we'll have Bhagavad Gita and read from chapter 9, which is the most confidential knowledge, text 13. And of course, I am the least qualified amongst all of you to speak on such an exalted subject matter, having many very senior and dedicated Vaishnavas in here, beginning with Pratap Nabrahma and Mother Jayashree, very old and very, very dedicated Prabhupada disciples who've given their whole life for the upliftment of the conditioned souls in Sydney, and doing that very, very successfully. So I'm kind of humbled by their presence and seeking their blessings and all of your blessings to be able to say a few meaningful words on today's exalted subject matter. Hare Krishna. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyanandana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Swapanantikam Pandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Bhikshakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhana Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Pachitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mutai Mahat Pirema Puro Vibur Nirmai Kshataya Damusha Purusha Mungte Gunan Sada Susada Satmaka Lankrishishta Bhagavan Vacham Sime.
Hare Krishna. We're expecting a lot more devotees to come for the festival, so if I could please ask everyone to move right forward and that way, fill in all the spaces, and we need to keep the doorway free just so that people can enter.
And also, if we could please ask everyone to turn their phones to silent mode. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Jitendra Prabhu helped all of us to advance forward in Krishna consciousness and gain much closer devotional association. So we should thank him for that. And after chanting our invocational mantra, we'll read from the most confidential knowledge from chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita, text 13. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 So just to put this in perspective, even though some of you probably heard about it, this particular verse is according to what Srila Prabhupada explains in a number of places in his other books, not in Bhagavad Gita, in Teachings of Lord Chaitanya and the Nectar of Devotion, is actually glorifying Srimati Radharani as Daivi Prakriti, the internal energy of the Lord, but keeping in line with the spirit of the most confidential knowledge. He never mentions the name of Radharani in this purport. So those who know the Sanskrit of this verse, please chant responsively. Mahatmanas mam partha Daivim prakritim ashritaha Bhajantananya manaso Gyatva bhutarim avyayam. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Srila Prabhupada's purport. In this verse, the description of the Mahatma is clearly given. The first sign of the Mahatma is that he is already situated in the divine nature. He is not under the control of material nature. And how is this affected? This is explained in the 7th chapter. One who surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, at once becomes freed from the control of material nature. That is the qualification. One can become free from the control of material nature as soon as he surrenders his soul to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the preliminary formula. Being marginal potency, as soon as the living entity is freed from the control of material nature, he is put under the guidance of the spiritual nature. The guidance of the spiritual nature is called Daivi Prakriti, divine nature. So when one is promoted in that way, by surrendering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one attains to the stage of great soul Mahatma. The Mahatma does not divert his attention to anything outside Krishna because he knows perfectly well that Krishna is the original Supreme Person, the cause of all causes. There is no doubt about it. Such a Mahatma or great soul develops through association with other Mahatmas, pure devotees. Pure devotees are not even attracted by Krishna's other features, such as the four-armed Mahavishnu. They are simply attracted by the two-armed form of Krishna. They are not attracted to other features of Krishna, nor are they concerned with any other form of a demigod of a human being. They meditate only upon Krishna in Krishna consciousness. They are always engaged in the unswerving service of the Lord in Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashrita bhajantananya manaso gyatva bhutani mavyayam. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. So, this is the purpose of our spiritual practices, to become great souls, Mahatmas, and we can only become Mahatmas by taking shelter of Daivi Prakriti, who is Srimati Radharani. And so it's only by the mercy of Srimati Radharani that we can advance in Krishna consciousness, and therefore when we chant Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, we start with Hare, and Hare is the call for Divine Mother, or Srimati Radharani, as Srila Prabhupada explains. And this is the request or petition to be engaged in her, in the devotional service, that she would engage us in the devotional service of her Krishna. As Prabhupada would say, that Krishna belongs to Radharani, even though Krishna is controlling everything and everyone, but Radharani, by the power of her pure devotion and pure love, she controls even Krishna. And that's why it's very amazing how Krishna here admits that in this verse. He says that the great souls, they take shelter. He could easily say, in me, but instead he says they take shelter in my Daivi Prakriti, in my divine nature, right? Indicating that great souls take shelter in Radharani first, and because she is the Divine Mother, and she is the origin, our origin. We all belong to her, in a sense. And as Mother, always has more affectionate relationship with the children and always very kind to the children. So in the same way, Srimati Radharani is very kind to all of us, and in order to get Krishna's mercy, first we have to get Radharani's mercy. And as Prabhupada would say that instead of offering something to Krishna directly, like a flower, we take a flower and we put that flower in Radharani's hand and we say, please offer this flower to your Krishna. Because we are not that qualified to serve the Lord, but if we serve the Lord through his devotees, headed by Srimati Radharani, then she will improve all the deficiencies and she can offer perfect devotional service to Krishna, and we will get the benefit of participating in the process. And so Srimati Radharani is, of course, the pleasure potency of the Supreme Lord, and she's eternal consort of Krishna in the spiritual world. Nevertheless, she appeared in this world with the Supreme Lord to participate in his pastimes when he came here more than 5,000 years ago. And maybe it's worth of saying few words how that happened. That is described in Garga Samhita, that one day Srimati Radharani saw Krishna being very busy, and Krishna was preparing for travel. Krishna is, of course, the supreme enjoyer, but he also has a little work to do, and that is to go to the material world and rescue the conditioned souls. And so he was preparing for that, and then Radharani saw that Krishna is about to leave, and she was very disturbed by the fact, because she always wants to be in Krishna's company. She never wants to be separated from Krishna. And then she was asking, what's happening? Are you leaving me again? And Krishna says, well, yeah, I have to go to the material world and rescue some of the conditioned souls there. And Radharani was saying, but how can you leave me and break my heart? And Krishna says, you don't have to stay here. You can come with me. You are free. I can take you with me, take you alone. But then Radharani said, you don't understand that I'm attached to Vrindavan, to Goloka Vrindavan, as much as I am attached to you. And actually, I cannot even imagine associating with you outside of Vrindavan, outside of Vraj. So if I go with you, then I'll be suffering in separation from Vraj even more than I suffer in separation from you. So what to do? And Krishna said, it's not a problem. We can take the whole Vraj with us, so we'll pack everything in. And so this is how it happened. Garga Samhita explains that, of course, Radharani was very excited with the idea that not only she travels with Krishna, but the whole Braj Mandala is traveling with them. Wouldn't it be nice, for those of you who travel for work or whatever reason, that anywhere you go, you still have your home. You don't have to adjust to new circumstances, right? So, but, we cannot do that, unfortunately. But the Supreme Lord can afford that easily. And so they packed everything and they brought the entire spiritual world in here. This is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur also explains, Svaparsada Sviyadhama Saha Bhatori. The Supreme Lord comes down to this world with his abode, Sviyadhama, that's Bengali, Svadham, Sviyadhama, and Svaparsad, with his associates also. So, in this way, Shiv Raja Bhumi appeared on this planet, and so Radha and Krishna came in here to take part in those wonderful pastimes. And the time is running. We'll say very few words, very briefly, about the appearance of Srimati Radharani. That she actually appeared in the family of the king of mountains, Vindhya, answering the prayers of Vindhya and his wife, who wanted to have a divine daughter. Somehow they had this inspiration, sometimes parents want to have super children who would be, who would amaze the whole world, right? And sometimes by divine inspiration, parents, they want to have divine children, but of course the most divine are the Supreme Lord and his eternal consort. And so in this way, Srimati Radharani appeared in this world as the daughter of Vindhya mountains. Actually, Vindhya was praying because he was a little bit jealous of Himalayas, who had Parvati and who married Lord Shiva. And so he prayed, let me have a daughter which would have a husband greater than even Lord Shiva. And so her wish was granted. And she got Radharani, and of course Krishna is the original Supreme Lord, and so Radharani is his eternal consort. But it happened so that at the time Krishna's already appeared, and as we know, the prediction was that the 8th child of Devaki will kill Kamsa, and Kamsa was really afraid, and that's why he sent out his demons so that they would gather all children, actually one particular demon, Putana, right, that she would catch all the children who were born within this period, and the order was that she would kill all the male children and abduct all female children. So somehow Kamsa wanted to have the girls. And so Putana actually abducted Radharani and her sister Chandravali and a few other baby girls who became the closest associates of Radharani in Vraja. And so she carried those girls, and the priest of Vindhya, very powerful Brahmana, he chanted special demon-killing mantras. So mantras are acting like a weapon, and so he shot that weapon of mantra into Putana. Unfortunately, he missed, but Putana got so scared that she had a very close call, and so she dropped the girls, and they landed in Yamuna on the lotuses. Already like huge lotuses bloomed, and so they created safe landing for all these girls. So they were unharmed. And then King Brishabhanu, he was advised that he wanted to have children, and especially by divine arrangement, he wanted to have girl, and because he didn't have any daughter, and so he went to the Yamuna and he was worshipping Surya Dev. This is how Radharani started worshipping Surya Dev, right? And because children are following their parents, whatever parents do, children follow. That's why it says that parents should not discipline children. They should discipline themselves, because the children will grow exactly as they are. Right? So, because example is better than precept. And so Vrishabhanu was worshipping Surya, and then we know that Radharani became known as Surya Nandini, right? She was worshipping, she liked to worship Surya Dev. And so he was doing that on the banks of Yamuna and praying for the girl, and suddenly he saw that amazing girl, baby girl, sitting on the lotus, and she was shining with the radiance of molten gold. And he realized this is mercy of Yamuna Devi. And actually, as we know, Yamuna is also daughter of Surya, of sun, right? Along with her brother Yamaraj. So they're all daughters of daughter and son of Surya Dev. And so he realized this is the mercy of Yamuna Devi, and then his brother Chandrabhanu found Chandravali in the same way. So anyway, Vrishabhanu adopted. It's very interesting that Krishna was adopted by Nanda and Yashoda, and Radharani was also adopted by Vrishabhanu and Kirtida. So interestingly enough, both of them were foster children, were not direct children. And so then this girl was perfect, but there was one problem. Actually, there were two problems. That first of all, this girl had her eyes shut, and it seemed that she is blind, right? And her hands were closed in fists, right? She was holding tight fists, and looked as if she was paralyzed or something. So even though she was so beautiful, but it seemed that she was disabled. And Vrishabhanu Maharaj was very sad. But then the great sage Narad Muni, he came to know that Srimati Radharani appeared in this world. And he came to have her darshan. And Vrishabhanu Maharaj was very surprised. Narada Muni said, this is not even extraordinary girl. This is the original divine goddess of fortune appeared in your house. And he started worshipping Radharani. And Vrishabhanu Maharaj said, I have this problem that she's blind and she seemed to be crippled. And Narada Muni said, I have a solution, that you invite your friend Nanda Maharaj with Yashoda, And of course, Krishna is very small, so automatically they bring Krishna with them. And by their mercy, your daughter will get cured. And so Vrishabhanu did that. He invited Nanda Yashoda, and Yashoda brought Krishna with her. And of course, Krishna was very small. He was crawling. And so when they were talking, and Yashoda put Krishna down, and so Krishna crawled to Radharani's cradle, and he looked at Radharani's face, and immediately Radharani had a huge smile, and she actually opened her eyes, and she opened her arms, and she started, she tried to reach up to Krishna. And so this is the nature of Radharani, that when she came to this world, she didn't want to see anyone, and she didn't want to even get in touch with this world unless and until she sees Krishna, right? So this is Radharani's consciousness. She only wants to see Krishna, and she only wants to serve Krishna, and there is no other desire in her mind and heart. So that's why she is the most exalted devotee of the Supreme Lord. And of course, there are so many stories connected to Srimati Radharani, but we'll tell you a couple of stories which are very instructive, and they're helping us to understand our relationship with Srimati Radharani. There is one Puranic story, I believe it appears in Padma Purana, how one time when Srimati Radharani was having a walk at Govardhan near Radhakund, very holy places, and there was one she-jackal in there. And this she-jackal was spotted by some Brajabasi boys. And Brajabasi boys, they like, doing very naughty things, as we know. So they decided to catch this she-jackal. And boys can be sometimes very cruel. They wanted to kill that she-jackal. And the she-jackal was escaping, and she found some hole in the ground, and then she went into that hole trying to get rid of the harassment. But then the boys, they didn't want to give it up, and they set a fire in front of the hole, and they started like pushing burning logs, and there was a lot of smoke in the hole. And so this she-jackal was suffocating in that hole, and was very loudly crying in a very pitiful voice. And then when that was happening, Srimati Radharani happened to hear these pitiful cries, and then she told her friend Lalita, who is crying, that Braj supposed to be the abode of happiness, so who is suffering so miserably? And Lalita Devi said, I'll go and check it out. And then she found out these boys who were harassing this she-jackal. And she said, just leave this she-jackal alone. She gave the boys some sweets, and they were saying, there is a jackal inside. She said, I'll take care of it, so you just take your sweets and go play. So the boys went, and then Lalita Devi rescued the jackal out of the hole. And this jackal was very miserable and at the verge of dying, and so, but she realized that Lalita Devi is her protector, and so she followed Lalita Devi, and then she was brought in the presence of Srimati Radharani, and Radharani, being the original Lakshmi, goddess of fortune, like Lakshmi is depicted to always carry lotus in her hand, and so Radharani carried blue lotus. Blue lotus helps her to always remember Krishna, and so when she saw that she-jackal, and that she-jackal fell at Radharani's feet, and she touched the she-jackal with the lotus, and then she got transformed into a gopi, and she was liberated from her miserable condition. So that story is explained to be very relevant to our condition, because our condition is very similar. We are like the unfortunate she-jackal trying to enjoy in the material world and then get harassed by so many unfavorable conditions. And then if we cry out very loudly for the mercy of the Supreme Lord, that's why Srila Prabhupada was saying that our chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra should be in the mood of a child crying for the mother, right? And so we have an amazing Kirtaniya, Shri Prahlad Prabhu here, who would be leading us in chanting and glorifying Srimati Radharani. And so it will be a wonderful opportunity to actually practice that. Chant in the mood of crying for mercy. And before we get Krishna's mercy, we should cry for Radharani's mercy. And that's why Hare comes first in Mahamantra, right? Hare Krishna, which indicates that only by her mercy we get Krishna's mercy. And so if Radharani will see that we are very sincere and we surrender at her lotus feet, she will touch us with her hand, with the blue lotus in her hand. She will touch us with her divine energy, and then we can become transformed, and we can actually achieve the eternal position in our service to the Supreme Lord. So this was one instance which helps us to understand how can we get the mercy of Radharani, right? Because we prayed for her mercy. And by sincerely chanting the holy names, Hare Krishna mantra, we can actually get her mercy. And the second story, which happened in Barshana, that they're used to leave one Brahmana, very exalted, but very poor. And he had a daughter who was of marriageable age, and as per custom, he was supposed to give some dowry and to get his daughter married, but he had no money. Was that called dowry, or yeah? And so he didn't know what to do, but he was very sincere devotee of Krishna, and so he was crying and walking in the forest of Vrindavan, and he was actually looking for Krishna, and he was saying, "Krishna, where are you? Please help me." And he was very sincere, and Krishna heard his cries, and he came together with his friends and the cows, and he said, "Brahmana, you are calling for me, so what can I do for you?" And the Brahmana said, "Yes, I need money." But not for myself. I want to fulfill my obligation. I want to get my daughter married. And Krishna said, "I would love to help you, but what can I do? I'm just a simple coward boy. I don't have any money. I only have my flute and cows." That will not help you very much. And the Brahmana started crying even more piteously. He said, "You were the only hope in my life, and then you let me down." And Krishna said, "Brahmana, I feel so sorry for you. I'll give you my greatest treasure in life." And then Radharani appeared there, and he said, "My greatest treasure in life, my real wealth is Radharani. Instead of giving you money or gold, I'll give you this golden girl." And so he gave Radharani, or he was planning to give Radharani, to this Brahmana, which confused Brahmana even more, because he had one daughter to marry, and he couldn't do that, and now he ended up with two daughters, and still no money. And he became very sad, continued crying. And then all of Radharani's friends started crying. And Radharani started crying. She was saying that, "I don't want to leave your association. Why did you give me to this Brahmana?" And all the gopis were saying, "We don't want to lose Radharani." And Brahmana was crying, and everyone was crying. And Krishna was completely confused. He wanted to solve this situation, but it got only aggravated. And he said, "What can I do? I already gave my promise. I already gave Radharani to this Brahmana, so I cannot take her back. But maybe if you want to have Radharani back, then maybe you could kind of bribe this Brahmana and, kind of buy Radharani back." And then Gopi said, "Okay, Brahmana, how much do you want? Tell us." And this is Vraja, right? And in Vraj, those who've been there, you know that people are very shrewd. They never miss their chance, to benefit. And so Brahman started calculating, and he realized that, it's a very good situation. He said, "Okay, I want gold, as much gold as Radharani weighs," right? And so they brought a scale, and they put Radharani on one side of the scale. And then these gopis, like you will see, ladies in India, they really like to carry gold on their body, right? So many bangles, etc. And it's all very heavy. And so there are unlimited number of gopis, friends of Radharani, and they started putting all this gold on the scale. And when the weight became equal, so they got Radharani, Brahmana got a lot of wealth from that transaction, and so everyone was happy. So this was how Krishna resolved this situation. But what this story is teaching us, that if you have Radha and Krishna, you don't have to worry about anything in life, right? They will look after you very nicely. So, and I'm sure that because Radharani is original goddess of fortune. So just by chanting Hare Krishna, just by serving Radha and Krishna, we have unlimited fortune. Not just material fortune, but eternal fortune, right? And so Srimati Radharani is very merciful, and therefore Krishna is very merciful to all of us, and he is looking very nicely after all of us. How many of you felt that since you dedicated yourself to serving Krishna and started chanting Hare Krishna, you really felt that Radha and Krishna are looking after you very nicely, protecting and providing and fulfilling your desires? Yes. So why do they do that? Just to help us to not worry about anything external or material, but fully dedicate ourselves to their service and actually share their mercy with everyone else and try to give access to this unlimited mercy to so many other living entities who are in a very pitiful condition in this material world. So because Krishna and Radharani, being his pleasure potency, they want everyone to be happy, and everyone can be happy only when they fully dedicate themselves to devotional service. Hare Krishna. Shri Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai. Shri Shri Jagannath Madhav Subhadra Mai ki jai. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai. Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Gaur Premanande. So we have 5 minutes left. If anyone wants to say a few words, or if anyone has any question, we can also discuss that. Yes, Braja Prem, Prabhu. Haribol.
I'm just trying to think about this concept that Radharani clenches her finger, her arm, before she sees Krishna. So is that indicative of the fact that she wants to argue or fight? Because the left-wing gopis are kind of like argumentative or draw that contradiction back there. So is that the symbolic nature of the clenched fist with Radharani?
Whether symbolic nature of clenched fists is a desire to fight, when I never heard that explanation. That what I heard is that she never wanted to touch anything if it is outside of Krishna's service, and this was the reason she kept her fists clenched. That actually, yeah, even though she might be very hot in her relationship with Krishna, but she's very kind and very merciful. And her hot arguments with Krishna are just to increase their pleasure, the pleasure in their pastimes. All right. So we're going to have Gaur Aratik, and then after Gaur Aratik, we will have Abhishek, and so we can prepare for that. Get ready for chanting and dancing. As we were mentioning yesterday, deities are supposed to stand on the altar and enjoy watching us, but we're not supposed to just stand still in front of them. Our service is to chant and dance for their pleasure, right? So this is the difference between us and God. He's meant to stand and watch, and we're meant to chant and dance. Hare Krishna.
So we're going to sing English?
I could.